Tonight, the world may be witnessing the collapse of one of the most fragile peace agreements in recent Middle Eastern history, as the United States and Iran exchange new military strikes and diplomatic talks hang by a thread. Many are asking a controversial question: are we seeing a temporary crisis or the return of a foreign policy doctrine that many believed had been left behind? This is the Unfiltered Political Lens. The fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran is facing its most dangerous test yet after a new exchange of military strikes reignited fears of a broader conflict across the Middle East. According to international reporting, the latest escalation began after attacks on commercial shipping near the Strait of Hormuz prompted the United States to launch strikes against Iranian military infrastructure, including drone facilities, air defense systems, and command and control networks. Iranian officials have condemned the strikes as a violation of the temporary peace agreement reached earlier this month and warned that further military action could end any remaining hopes of diplomacy. In response, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched missile and drone attacks targeting U.S. military facilities in Bahrain and Kuwait, marking one of the most direct confrontations between the two nations in recent years. While U.S. officials stated that American forces suffered no casualties and only limited damage, Iranian state media claimed that multiple strategic targets were successfully struck. Reports of damage to civilian areas near military facilities have increased concerns that the conflict could rapidly expand beyond military objectives and destabilize the broader Gulf region. At the center of this crisis remains the Strait of Hormuz as well, one of the world's most strategically important waterways and the route through which nearly 20% of global oil supplies pass each day. Recent attacks on commercial shipping have disrupted maritime traffic, increased insurance costs, and triggered renewed volatility in global energy markets. Military analysts warn that with multiple nations operating naval air assets throughout the Persian Gulf, the possibility of miscalculation has become increasingly dangerous. Despite the escalation, diplomatic efforts continue. U.S. and Iranian officials are reportedly preparing to resume negotiations in Doha, Qatar, although Iranian officials have already suspended portions of the planned technical talks over disputes involving sanctions relief, frozen assets, and recent military operations. President Donald Trump has warned that additional attacks against American interests could trigger a much larger military response, while Iranian leaders have threatened to withdraw from negotiations entirely if further U.S. strikes occur. Tonight, one question remains: are we witnessing another temporary crisis in the Middle East, or the beginning of a much larger geopolitical confrontation that could reshape the region for years to come? As military forces remain on high alert and diplomatic negotiations struggle to survive, the coming days may prove to be some of the most consequential in the modern history